Hello, my name is Hwang Ji-ho. And today I'm here to talk about private education of Korea. So now I'll talk about my motivation. So which academies do you go to?
서성원 깊은 생각
깊은 생각.
서성원
서성원. Yeah, 서성원's awesome.
다원
Hwang, yeah. So many students, including you and me, go to many academies. And then also there has been lots of commotion regarding private education these days, especially with the change into absolute grading system of the Korean SAT and the recent fuss about too much money spent into private education. So because of this, I got to research more about private education, and now I'll do the presentation in front of you guys. So the contents. First, what is private education? Second, history of private education. Third, current status. Fourth, social problems and government's reaction. Fifth, future of private education. And sixth, Q&A time. So first of all, what is private education? So private education, according to OECD, is education that is controlled and managed by a non-governmental organization, or education whose governing board consists mostly of members not selected by a public agency, such as the government. And now I'll talk about the current status. Where is this place due? Do you know this place?
마사거리.
Yes. This is the Kipsang bus. So you can know that this is in front of Kipsang. So every day in 10 p.m. you can see many students coming out of these academy buildings, from elementary school students to high school students, in order to get into a good university. Students study hard all day long in these academy buildings, crammed with other students and desks and chairs. And they study hard all day long, since getting into university means getting a good job and having a higher chance to earn more money later on when they become an adult. But all these enthusiasm towards private education has caused many social problems, and I'll talk about 3 social problems in my presentation today, which is monetary problems and the gap between the rich and the poor, and academic stress that the students experience through their lives. First, monetary problems. According to a survey done by the government organization, it showed that 256,000 won per month is spent on private education on average. And when we look at the national scale, 17.5 trillion won per year is spent for the whole nation on private education. That is a lot of money. And 1/3 of parents are afraid of private education costs and are thus hesitant to have another baby. And now the second social problem is the social gap between the rich and the poor. So more income usually means more private education, since you need money in order to participate in private education. And in Gangnam area, which is one of the richest areas in the whole nation, people spend 1.6 times the nation's average on private education. And this interesting graph shows how family status contributes to the widening social gap. So you can see in this picture that students whose parents are more highly educated and earn more money have a higher probability of experiencing private education. And then third, academic stress. Students have to study all day long in academies to get into a good university. And students are unable to take a rest even on weekends and holidays, since academies have special programs for those days. And they are forced to memorize knowledge, and they have no time to think about their real future and their dreams. And then this interesting circle graph shows that academic stress is the biggest factor of high school student stress. So it shows that 82% of high school student stress is caused by academic stress. And then now to combat these academic stress, governments have shown some reactions. First of which are the law that forces academies to close at 10 p.m. to guarantee that students take enough sleep. And then the second law is that the government recently changed the SAT grading system from relative grading system to absolute grading system for English only. And since absolute grading means that students will take easier tests, it is expected that students will engage less in private education. And then now the future of private education. Since its introduction in 1962, it has formed a gigantic market, and 1,834 academies are located in Gangnam alone. So that means that there are a lot of academies in the whole nation. And getting rid of it completely is unrealistic since the market is so big and so many people are involved in it. So there are many famous academies such as Miretambu or Tawon, and then there are many famous teachers such as, who is this?
한성원.
And who is this?
현우진.
And who is this?
Yes.
So all these people are related to private education. If we get rid of private education, these people have almost no way to live. So getting rid of private education completely is pretty unrealistic. So what is the future of private education? The real problem is not private education, but the low quality of public education. Except a few exceptions, all the teachers in our school are great, including Jun teacher. But many teachers in other public schools are very unenthusiastic and don't really have much knowledge. So students are focused on private education in order to fill the gap that fill the knowledge that they cannot get from public education. So we should raise the quality of public education instead of trying to get rid of private education. And if we if we raise the quality of public education and reduce the reliance of private education, benefits will naturally come to us by having less competition and less monetary problems and less gap between the rich and the poor and less academic stress for students. And Q&A time, anyone?
Did you skip your private academy today?
No, I don't have academies on weekends to study on my own.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.